Welcome to the latest Indie Dev Showcase, highlighting the many indie demos and submitted games we play here on the channel. If you'd like to submit a game for a future piece, please get in touch. We are starting things off with the demo for the game Faerie Afterlight. And this is essentially another 2D action-adventure Metroidvania style game that really gives me elements of like Ori meets Hollow Knight. We play as this little guy who apparently doesn't have any legs, who is on an adventure to, I believe, rescue or bring back light to this world. Our partner there, a fairy, allows us to manipulate different objects and will be used in different puzzles and things like that. You're able to collect different power-ups, you have health as you can see in the top, and the game from the store page promises having different upgrades and unlockables that will of course add in the Metroidvania aspects to it. Now, from the demo that we played from the festival, it does seem to be like a fairly competent Metroidvania. Now, unfortunately, with the demo itself, it was kind of hard to tell what are going to be the unique selling points for this game if you're not already playing other Metroidvanias like the aforementioned Hollow Knight and Ori. But other than that, from what we played, it seems like it's going to be a pretty decent one, and if you are a fan of Metroidvania design, I would say give this one at least a check. For our next game, we turn to Glyph. The footage you're seeing is taken from the demo, but the full game is out now. And this is a 3D platformer where you control our lovely ball here, who is trying to bring back the world by doing as much platforming as one can imagine over the course of these very widely spanning levels. So the general design here is that the levels are built around being very open environments, but still having some degree of linearity, as you'll have to collect all the various coins, MacGuffins, and so on in order to get through each area. And if you play the game and collect everything, you'll also unlock additional challenges, time trial modes, so on and so forth. Now, what I like about the game is that it is kind of physics driven, as the momentum of your sphere here will affect how far you can move and jump as you're going around. And you're going to need to build a lot of heft and momentum in order to make some of these leaps. Now, the game itself doesn't seem to have anything in terms of combat, at least from what was in the demo. This is just all pure platforming. I also appreciate giving you that kind of ground indicator when your sphere is going to be above a solid object. And each level will introduce new environmental hazards, there's new tech that gets unlocked, and it is a game that is very much for platforming fans. If you're hoping for an advanced storyline, first-person shooter combat, anything that is beyond 3D platforming, that's not what Glyph is about. And for me, I really enjoy this one. And it is one of those games, given the openness of the levels and the different tech involved, that would definitely be a fun one for speedrunners in terms of all the different ways you can move around and sequence break some of these challenges. The demo is still available now, and I would definitely say that if you are a fan of platformers, this is a must play, or definitely check out at least the demo for you. For our next game, this is Little Witch in the Woods, and this is kind of like a slice of life, almost like Harvest Moon Stardew Valley kind of title. We play, as well as the title implies, a little witch who is in the woods. After getting off a train on a school field trip, she finds herself now kind of stuck waiting for the train to come back in a foreign town. So she decides to take up practicing more about witchcraft and starts brewing up various concoctions and trying to just figure out what is going on in this strange land. So the general gameplay is going to be a mix of exploration as well as finding the different ingredients that you need to produce different potions, items, and so on that can be used to either solve puzzles, complete quests, and you get the picture. From what I played of the demo, it did feel like a little grindy in terms of trying to find all the different resources, but the game definitely has a delightful charm to it. From the demo, I'm not sure how, extreme the game is going to be in terms of difficulty and things along those lines. And I'm not sure if there'll be actual combat. You do need to craft things and use your potions in order to collect various items and get around certain obstacles. But I don't know if the game will have any real combat focus to it. All in all, if you're somebody who is looking for another slice of life kind of game to play after stuff like Stardew Valley and the slew of games that have tried to kind of copy that aesthetic and tone, I would say give Little Witch in the Woods a try. But if you're somebody who doesn't like this kind of gameplay, especially the focus on crafting and gathering, then I don't think the game is going to do enough to win you over. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have 3 more games to look at for this showcase. And as always, if you're interested in my thoughts on design, then check out my latest design books. For entry-level students, we have 20 essential games to study, and then the Game Design Deep Dive series that takes an extensive look at different genres, with free-to-play coming in 2022. Up next, we have A Tale for Anna. This is a demo that I played on my own during one of the festivals. And this is a game in the hidden object puzzle adventure genre, which depending upon who you are watching this, you may either be well acquainted with this or have no idea what I'm talking about. But this is a genre that's been popularized with the games from Arfix Mundi. This is not from that developer, but from another one. And the structure is kind of a mix of the different kinds of adventure gameplay. You're searching for various objects all around. You also have to solve different puzzles and collect a myriad of MacGuffins and collectibles if you want to solve everything. Now, unlike the Arfix Mundi games, A Tale for Anna, while it may not look it from this very delightful storybook kind of aesthetic that you're seeing here, is on the harder side. The game features a lot more advanced puzzle solving than I would normally see from some of the games I've played in the past. And the game definitely runs the gambit of kind of logic and critical thinking based puzzles. Everyone's favorites, such as having to move different objects around to get them all lined up, to finding these different collectibles that you see along the bottom of the screen. And you do get hints and the option to skip puzzles after a certain amount of time has passed. And all in all, this is one of those games that what you see is what you get. If you do not like hidden object puzzle adventure style gameplay, keep far away from this one. If you do enjoy the genre, but you are looking for one with a little bit more of a challenge compared to some other entries, I would give this one a check, and you may find that you enjoy it. We now have Dark Deity. And with the footage that you're seeing on screen, you should know right away what kind of game this is. But Dark Deity is to Fire Emblem what Wargroove was to kind of Advanced Wars. That this is a tactical strategy game where you'll be commanding your various individual units and going on different quests to save the land. Now, as with the Fire Emblem style, it hits all the usual beats. You have overly elaborate combat animations, gaining experience to level up, and a huge roster of characters belonging to different classes who you can field into your party. Now, the game does feature a very robust character veterancy system where you can upgrade characters into different classes. Those classes can be further upgraded into more classes, and it definitely hits all the same tones and beats of the Fire Emblem series. I believe you can turn off, or it does not have permadeath. Instead, they'll come back in the next battle, but with reduced stats. And again, this is a game that what you see is what you get. I did find it got a little bit annoying when you have a huge roster and having to move every character one at a time across the field. And the game does have, again, the same pros and cons of the Fire Emblem style. Similar to Wargroove, this is not a game that is going to change your mind if you don't like this style of gameplay. But if you are somebody who's looking for another tactical strategy game, you really enjoy Fire Emblem and looking for another flavor of that, then this is definitely going to be up your alley. For our final game in this showcase, this is Phantom Abyss. Please keep in mind the footage that you are seeing is taken from its first week or first kind of updates on early access and may not represent the current version of the game. So this is kind of like a first-person Spelunky meets maybe a Legends of the Hidden Temple kind of affair. We are running into procedurally generated dungeons or temples filled with all variety of traps in order to collect and reclaim the various relics at the end. You have very limited health as well as very limited ways of recovering your health. There is fall damage, and your challenge is to move through area to area, collecting resources, as well as getting upgrades that will affect you during that run, including double jump, kind of hover jump, affecting your whip, and so on. Now, as you get further in, the game will introduce more trap obstacles as well as biomes, complete with their own hazards to deal with. When you start a run for the first time, you'll have a chosen god randomly assigned to you that will affect the difficulty of that run. This could be gaining a character who will shoot poison at you, something that will chase you down, etc. Now, the kind of soft multiplayer comes in with the fact that each temple is a unique seed, and multiple people will run it, and whoever beats it will basically clear that temple from the procedural choice. But while you're running it, you can see what other people have done, and you can watch how far they've gone, where they've explored, and seeing what trap did them in. It's kind of a nice touch along those lines. Now, the main thing that I had with this game, the main issues, one was that there was definitely a lack of trap and room diversity. And now remember, this was played during its early times in early access, and I don't know what's been added in since. But we were already running into repeats of rooms and obstacles very early on. The hit detection for your whip can be a little weird as well. When you whip something, you will get pulled in that direction and velocity, and this will allow you to jump over traps or get around hazards and so on. Well, there are cases where it felt like I was whipping, but it was not triggering the hit. And this can become do or die in certain cases. Now, as an action roguelike kind of design, there is progression unlocking new whips, and that has been changed according to the patch notes from when I played it. But if you're hoping for additional passives or kind of like meta unlocks, like making temples harder or unlocking new biomes, I don't know if that is in the game or if that is planned for it. All in all, this is one of those games where I enjoyed it, but it was also one that I wanted to wait for it to finish early access before really diving into it. So I would say if you are a fan of what you're seeing, I would definitely check this one out, but keep in mind the difficulty can be a little extreme, at least from what we played of it. So with that said, we're going to wrap up this showcase here. You'll find links to all the games in the description down below. And you like me to tackle your game for a future piece, please get in touch. Do all the liking, subscribing, and commenting. And check out our Discord and Patreon link down below, and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where it's in the art and science of games. Until next time, take care.